Hey guys, you alright? Yeah, not so bad that. You alright? Yes, but electric, yeah. It's only the second time out on it, so we better find out. I mean, it's road legal, so it's I mean, they claim sort of 85 miles range. First time I went out on it, more like 45. So it's a bit off. I mean, it's really nice to ride, very light. It's just that range. It's well put together as well. It's like, you know, there's lots of nice touches to it, adjustable levers, fully adjustable suspension and that. But yeah, I mean, it's fast. Acceleration wise, it's very fast. But obviously on trails you don't really want, you know, you don't really need that. Alright, I'll see how I get on. Yeah, that's alright. Catch you later. See you later. Hello there. Alright. Thank you. That was a fortuitous man to meet because he allowed me to introduce the bike. So yeah, we've got Surron Ultra B. I didn't think it's about June, only been out on it twice. Curiosity got me interested in it really. When it was unveiled at or shown off at London Bike Show 2023, I was just really curious that we'd finally got what is possibly an electric solution to trail riding. They do advertise that the range is about 80 miles, but the first ride out on it revealed that that was a load of nonsense, and it's more like 45, maybe 50, obviously depending on how you ride it. We've got different power settings, so we've got drive, eco and sport. In sport it's a very quick bike. At the minute I'm just in drive, and to be honest, you get up here no problem in eco and just stretch that battery length out a bit. On the road it's going to eat it up a little bit, or eat it up quite a lot, because you want to maintain high throttle. But on these kind of roads, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit cramped. Got fully adjustable suspension. It is like being on a mountain bike. 85 kilos or so, so very liftable. You haven't got to worry about a clutch, so quite a good starter bike or learner trail bike. Skinny little wheels, 19-inch front and rear. When I first got it, I took it up some quite gnarly lanes, and I've got to be honest, I struggled on the steep wet slate just because it just span up the rear that quick. You couldn't meet feathering the power. But coming down here, which are quite moderate lanes, there's just loads of grip, loads of agility, and actually sitting down on it's really quite relaxing. So I think what I would say is that everything I've seen about this bike, or all the reviews, are showing it being ridden really aggressively, mainly in America, by people on private land, which is kind of great, but not really what we have in the UK, unless you've got lots of private land, I suppose. But we've got lots of green lanes like this, where the pace is a bit slower. Obviously you've got people sharing the lanes, so personally I never go daft, because you don't want to come into a cropper with anyone. You've got horse riders on here, which is again another appeal of an electric bike, because you're not going to disturb people quite so much. And I think there's a curiosity, that second lady then, I can see she wasn't overly happy with the bike being on the trail, but she kind of looked and smiled. Had I been on a Husqvarna 2-stroke, I don't think we would have had that smile. So I guess that's where my curiosity is. Got a left-handed brake, left-handed back brake at the front in the conventional place. We've done 93. I mean, that's only took 93%, so we've got 7%. 77%. I don't know how many miles I've done. I've probably only done 2 miles, so 7% do 2 miles. So not exactly guaranteed to give us a high rate of mileage. Very agile, look at that, very easy to turn around, no clutch, haven't got to change gear. We're in puncture territory now, all the hedges are being cut, so we're on a high risk of getting a puncture. Not ideal. I've just got a can of tyre weld with me, I don't have any 19-inch tubes, so hoping for the best here. Nice and planted on the road, it's just like a big mountain bike really. You could argue, what's the benefit of this over an e-bike where you're actually doing some pedaling and getting fit at the same time? And I think that's a good argument, really. If this doesn't really add... Get through there, come on. You know, for the fact that this doesn't allow you to go too far from base anyway, what is the benefit over an e-bike? Yeah, a valid argument. When you could get something like a CRF 300L or a Rally or a Vogue or whatever, and keep doing trails all day long and stay overnight and doing some more trails and obviously go around the world if you wanted to. This, on the other hand, let's say it's got a 45-mile range, it's then got a 4-hour charging time. So to cover 90 miles in a day, that's a lot of charging. A lot of charging. Okay, going to do a slightly steeper climb now. Just see how it goes up here. Heartbreak Hill. I mean, it's so easy to manoeuvre. You know, it's so beautiful to ride. I mean, it's quite a tricky hill, this. A very tricky hill, but this is sat down. It's getting traction. It's getting drive. Suspension's doing a really good job of getting it up here. I mean, this is the easiest bike I've ridden up here on. And I don't think you'd find any that were any easier, really. You know, it's the agility to just skip around the rocks, and this is with a really badly worn set of tyres on. You know, imagine you put some decent tyres on, I think you'd be well away. So a quick look at it. So there she is. Yeah, it's not a big bike, is it? I mean, it's almost full size in many ways, length, height. I don't know what the seat height is, but it's pretty manageable. It's just the weight of it, really. You know, the fact that you can cut that, lift it up, no worries at all. It's lighter than my 105cc postie bikes. A lot of people are putting the 1821 wheel set on. Just to give it more off-road ability. You know, I guess it depends what you're going to do with it. For me, this works fine as it is, and I'm always cautious about spending money, adding money to a new bike's price by you know, trying to upgrade it and stuff. I kind of tend to accept things for what they are, and this is doing this job just nice. Look, we've got still got some grip on that front. The back's pretty badly worn, but it's still going up there. Went up that slope really nicely. And I'd say, you know, and I've had people on CRFs and things and Himalayans come up there, and it's a bit of a struggle. It's a bit of a bite against the clutch and the traction. Power, steering. The steering's obviously heavier and slow on a bigger bike. Harder to control, harder to guide it through the rough stuff. But this is just like a powered e-bike, a powered push bike coming up there. But obviously you've got enough power just to keep it going very easy. So yeah. I think when I first rode it, and what it's reminding me of again is just how easy it makes trail riding. So rather than seeing it as an out and out performance e-bike or electric trail bike, I would actually make the case for it being a perfect novice trail bike. I got an email from somebody the other day who's thinking about buying a new Himalayan to do trail riding in Cornwall. Never been trail riding before, don't know where the easy lanes are, don't know what trails they can ride. You know, you can see disaster in that. Somebody taking out a 200 kilo bike to explore lanes with no ability and no skill off-road. It's always going to go wrong. Whereas if they got something like this, they could try any lane, and then if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, it's too difficult, they can turn that bike around. They're not going to get stuck under the bike. The bike's actually going to enable them to ride a higher level of trail than what the Himalayan will. So I think for somebody who's setting out and who's looked at Surros and things like that, you know, the 225, 250 Surros, this is the bike that enables the untalented to ride trickier trails. The obviously issue is the range, and if you haven't got trails on your doorstep, you're not going to be able to do it with this. You're going to have to van it in. So, but you know, as a bike to ride and to allow people to do trails on, it's fantastic. You know, it's a real enabler of trail riding. If they can work on that battery tech and improve it, and so give people, you know, a realistic 100-mile range or a quick charge or something, you know, that next generation of battery tech, if that sort of releases it, unshackles it from this 45-mile limit, which is the same for the zeros and things like that, and then it's a game changer, because as a bike to ride, for the average person, it's so much easier than a big bike. Yes, the skilled rider is going to probably run out of interest in it after a while, because there's less elements to it. There's not the clutch, there's not the power, etc. But for the average rider, I think there's a lot of positives to it. Just want to get that range sorted out. In the meantime, I'm going to keep doing a few more trails, see how we get on. Cheers. Let's see how it goes through water. Nice and steady. I think it is all waterproof, I'm assuming so. We'll find out in a short while. Which is certainly wading. But that's what it's going to do, hasn't it? You know, if it's going to replace tried and tested petrol power, it's got to be durable. It's got to cope with lots of different terrain, tricky conditions, submersions. You know, maybe that's the thing. Maybe the electric bike will deal with submersions far better than a petrol powered bike. I'm not going to run the risk of trying it, just in case I bugger it up, but I mean, it's got so much go. I mean, so in sport mode now. I mean, it's just nuts in sport mode. You know, it's unnecessary for trails, so slow through. Sorry if this is a bit of a boring video. I'm trying not to kill me or my sheep. I mean, I think it's always sensible to be a bit cautious when you're out on your own. Let's try and go this way, shall we? So just like that, you know, that's so much easier than on a clutch bike. What's that doing? I mean, that's still only on 89%. Whoa! I don't know if the regen is going to be making much difference. I've got it on the mid setting. I think there's 5 settings for regen. I've got it on the mid setting, so I can feel some sort of resistance as I shut off the power. That is, I guess, regenning the battery, which might be mean I'm going to get a bit more range out of it. But like here in sport mode, I mean, that's absolutely fucking nuts. I mean, we're nearly doing 50 mile an hour up there. And the compliancy, is that the right word? The compliance of the suspension of the bike as a whole was just effortless, you know. Went over those bumps, no problem. I think the suspension's pretty good. I don't know what brand it is or anything, but the suspension on it seems pretty good draw. Suits the bike, rides well. I haven't done much adjustment. I've just probably firmed it up a little bit. But you think how easy that was just then, and how much power it's got on the throttle just then. It's a very good fun bike. It's a brilliantly fun bike. You imagine some mates out trail riding on these. I'm gonna let's go and find some more trails. I'm gonna do bog lane and a few others. I'll see you in a bit. I'm gonna take you on a few other lanes. I think it's just a sense of confidence that you've got with it. You just seem to have more control. And again, I'm comparing this to what I usually ride, which are sort of the heavier, small capacity adventure bikes, Himalayan, CRFs, 310 GS, KTM, 390s. Those sort of bikes, which are a long way away from being enduro bikes. I tend not to ride that style of bike. So if you're an enduro rider, you ride enduro bikes regularly, you've got to take some of what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because maybe for you this is going to feel a bit floppy, a bit flaccid, a bit underwhelming. You know, I can't gauge that because I've not ridden what you've ridden. But for me, who generally rides 160, 200 kilo adventure trail bikes, this feels very light, peppy, agile, and very well planted. You're not having to ride around the bike's weight, which you're having to do a lot with the bigger adventure bikes. You know, on those bikes you're always looking for grip, lack of grip, counterbalancing, bringing the bike back into control. You know, the bike's always wanting to go down on those bigger bikes, let alone on a quarter of a ton GS or something like that. You have to be far more active, far more engaged, and actually a far better rider to get those bikes to go these kind of places. Whereas this is just, yeah, it's bread and butter riding, really. I love that nobody can hear you coming. It's almost like a stealth trail bike. Okay, a bit of a climb here. Let's see how we go up here. Got it in drive mode. Easy peasy, no clutch shaft to feather. Just that wet rock to tame that throttle over. Whoop! Something just kicked up. Again, easy. It makes that slightly tricky climb really manageable. Okay, so I've just spotted actually on the keyring, I never noticed this before. Well, that's got all the abbreviations. So B, when you toggle through there, brake and coast, energy regen. P, which is e-brake, tilt switch, ASR, traction control, throttle sensitivity, diagnostic report, long press R&S, reverse mode, double clicks. It's got the instructions on there. I've got to say, you know, as a package, as a consumer product, the Surron is far advanced from what we're used to from the motorcycling manufacturers, who, to be honest, are absolutely useless at conceiving or thinking about what the customer wants. And in fact, we've got fully adjustable suspension, we've got a USB charger on there, we've got nice levers, adjustable levers, we've got a firm handguard there rather than the ones on the CRF, which are, you know, crappy floppy things. We've got the seat. When you take the seat off and the batteries under there, it's all spring loaded. There's like a hydraulic ram for it and things. So whoever designed it, which is it's a Chinese company, Chinese built, they really looked at what the consumer, how the consumer is going to use it and what is going to benefit the consumer. Whereas with the motorcycling world, it just seems like they'll do whatever's the cheapest, and I think we've learnt to put up with it because that's all we're going to get. But I think Surron have kind of shown that we've been taking the piss off a little bit recently, or certainly by the motorcycling world. So for 6.5, I actually think it's a great bit of kit, right? Actually good value, because the thought and quality of it is way above the equivalent price level in the motorcycling world. I mean, look at that, it's so easy. Stood up now. A lot of horses on this lane, so again, electric, really good, although I guess the downside is they can't hear me coming. But no different to a pedal bike, I suppose. They were in drive mode now. I like having the back brake up on the lever. Makes that easier to get to. You're not having to work your feet quite as much. I guess it's going to make you a lazy trail rider probably, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing. Nice, easy control through there. Oh, a bit of a slip there, nearly fell off again, fell off in that puddle before. Just watching these ridges. Bringing the power, nice soft throttle there, easy enough to gauge. Head up, sat down. We're down to 74%. Okay, quite a little tricky lane here. Not because it's steep or rocky, just because it's overgrown, muddy. I had to come and rescue a chap on a Himalayan stuck down here the other day. Just highlighting the difficulty people have in finding an appropriate lane for their ability. he just got a little bit bogged. But again, Himalayan 200 kilo bike, which in the right conditions are actually brilliant. I love it as a little trail bike, Himalayan, but it's definitely got its limits. But even there, just hopping in and out of that rut, you can actually, this is all this rut down the centre is what he created on his Himalayan on his road tyres. It's made a right mess. Whoa. Come on, just set yourself. I think what you can tend to do with this, because you haven't got the clutch, you end up coming on the throttle a little bit too much, burn up a little bit too much speed. It takes a little bit more restraint. I guess because ultimately you've got one less element of control. Without that clutch lever, I guess you're at the mercy of the throttle. There we go. It's just finding the right line really with these kind of lanes. You know, where's the grip? Because riding that shallow rut, it's always wanted to chuck you off, and you have to be a better rider than me to not end up doing that. But, you know, again, the beauty is, say you're coming down here and you think, I'm in over my head here, I'm in trouble, much like he did. You know, he came through this stretch here. Well, we got some serious water. Probably me, I'd have probably turned around at that point, but in fairness, he didn't know the lane, he didn't know it was going to get harder. He was probably hoping it was going to get easier. With the Himalayan, it's difficult to turn it around on your own, certainly on a narrow lane like this. I think with this 80 kilo Surron, yeah, anyone can. This is where he got it bogged. Yeah, struggling a bit for traction there. But you can get it out, look at that. I can almost just push it with my feet. You know, I'm not an overly strong person, if I'm honest. A lot of back problems, so I tend not to try and use blunt force. So I'm just using a soft foot there, just to guide it. So again, yeah, tricky lane down there, certainly on a bigger bike. Better tyres certainly help a little bit, but the bike again enables you to do it. I'm not saying you take an absolute complete novice down there, but actually in fairness, I come down there with novice groups on the CT 110s. Maybe not so much in winter, but certainly in autumn and spring when it's still wet, and they get down there because you haven't got that clutch to work, and then get the feet down easy. This is a bit taller, and obviously you got a little bit more zip on that throttle, but you'd still get a semi-novice down this lane on this kind of bike. So just going down an A road, 53 miles an hour. That's in drive mode. Quite happy at that. Anyway, mate, thank you. Cheers, bud. Thanks. There's a lot of curiosity with this bike. Look at that, what a view, eh? What a view. Trails like this is what made me curious about it, really. This is a legal trail, but it's sensitive because a lot of walkers on it. And I never get bothered, but kind of don't want to leave much of an impression when you go past. I'm happy just to exchange pleasantries and then be on my way. Kind of don't want people thinking, oh, noisy bloody motorbikes. So this kind of is a solution, isn't it? It is, at least for me, in a way. You know, range aside, if we could get the range, then we might get a bit more peace and quiet on the lanes, which might mean the lanes stay open longer. I know that's a bit wishful thinking given the state of things at the minute, but you know, it seems like an inevitable closure of all lanes at some point in Britain. Whether there's anything we can do about that to slow that down, I know obviously the TRF are fighting to keep lanes open, but as lane users, is there anything we can do to reduce our impact but still enjoy the lanes? I've got to say that electric is kind of a good thing, you know, in this kind of environment where there are other people around. I just think it's less impactful, less likely to piss off other people, and actually I've got to be honest, it's fun to ride. You know, I'm enjoying riding it. So I don't think you lose anything from it being electric powered rather than petrol powered. I think if anything you kind of gain the ease of riding it, and it's just a different riding experience. Probably not as engaging, but easier and maybe more capable for the average rider than something like an enduro bike, which is a bit full on and a bit, you know, a bit frantic for the average rider. I've seen people, you know, who bought the two-stroke bikes, gone out riding and just really struggled in a way that they wouldn't on something with less power. And you know, so I don't think necessarily the bikes that people are buying are making life easier for themselves, but this makes life easier. So I'm going to crack on before this chap catches up with us and just enjoy the view. But yeah, Surron Ultra B, is it an alternative to a traditional trail bike? I guess it is very much so, because it offers a lot of capability. Is it a big limiting factor? Yeah, ultimately the range. So it'll ultimately come down to what you want to do with it, what riding you've got in your local vicinity, whether you know you could typically go out for a full day on the trails or a long weekend on the trails, or whether you just like a few hours of blasting time, which I think if you like that, then this is a great bike to blast around on. So it won't suit everyone, but I think it's a good addition to trail riding, and it can only get better as battery life improves. So we'll see where the future takes us. But yeah, it's a good bike, it's a good introduction. Surron is certainly keen about making solid, good quality bikes, which is no bad thing, is it, this day and age? So yeah, all right, crack on before it gets dark. Cheers.